There's a window open right now in self-publishing that I genuinely believe is one of the best I've seen in years. And the strange part is that almost everyone who notices it is about to use it in the worst possible way. I've made more than $370,000 on Amazon KDP, so I've watched this space change a few times now. And what's happening at the moment is different. Something shifted and made it easier than ever to start, and that shift is real. I'm not going to talk you out of it. But here's where it gets interesting, because the thing that opened this window is the exact same thing that's going to bury most of the people rushing through it. They think the opportunity is speed. They think it's about doing more, faster, cheaper. And that misunderstanding is going to cost them the entire thing, while the few people who see what's actually going on are going to walk in and take niches that stay theirs for years. So let me show you what actually opened up when most people are about to waste it and what you do instead if you wanted to be on the right side of this. Let me start with the part that's true, because there is a genuine opening here and I don't want to pretend otherwise. A few years ago, if you wanted to compete on Amazon with a quality book, you needed money. You needed a ghostwriter if you couldn't write the thing yourself. You needed a designer for a cover that didn't look homemade. You needed an editor, and all of that added up to thousands of dollars before you'd made a single sale. So the barrier wasn't just effort, it was cash, and that kept a lot of capable people out entirely. Now, that barrier basically collapsed. With AI, somebody sitting at home with no budget can get help structuring a book, can get a cover concept that looks current instead of looking like it was made years ago, can move through the parts that used to require hiring someone. The cost of getting to a finished, decent looking product dropped close to nothing. And this matters more than it sounds, because for years the people who won on Amazon weren't always the ones with the best ideas. They were often just the ones who could afford to hire their whole team. The person with the real experience and the genuinely useful thing to say sometimes never got in the door because they didn't have a few $1,000s to spend before they even knew if it would work. That filter is mostly gone now. The money gate came down, and that's the first thing that's true, and it's a big one. The second thing that's true is the demand, and this is the one people get completely wrong. There's this idea floating around that books are dying, that nobody reads anymore, that the whole thing is shrinking and you're showing up late to something that's already over. The actual numbers don't say that at all. The money Amazon pays out to authors keeps climbing year after year. Ebooks are selling, audiobooks are growing fast as more people listen on their commute or at the gym, and new niches keep appearing as people's interests keep splitting into smaller and smaller specific groups who want a book made exactly for them. Every time a new hobby blows up, every time a new problem becomes common, that's a fresh pocket of readers with money looking for something that doesn't exist yet. So put those two true things side by side. It costs almost nothing to enter, and the buyers are not only still there are more of them spending more than before. On the surface, that sounds like the easiest decision anyone's ever been handed, and this is the exact moment where most people walk straight into the mistake that ruins the whole thing for them. Here's the thing about a barrier coming down. When something gets easy, it doesn't just let the right people in, it lets everybody in, and most of them bring the laziest possible version of themselves to it. So the same AI that lets a thoughtful person build something good, lets 10,000 other people generate something hollow in an afternoon and slap it on Amazon by dinner. Think about what most people are being told to do right now. Go fast, pump out books, pick a niche, type a prompt, get a manuscript, get a cover, publish, move to the next one, stack them up, and treat the whole thing like a numbers game where you throw enough at the wall and something sticks. The entire pitch is volume, because volume is what sounds smart when the cost of making one thing just drops to zero. And I understand why it's tempting, I really do, because if each book costs you almost nothing to make, the math in your head says make as many as you possibly can and let a few of them hit, and that feels like the rational move. The problem is that everyone is running the same math at the same time. Everyone got the same tools on the same day, and everyone read the same advice telling them to go fast and go wide. So when you use AI the lazy way to generate a generic book as quickly as possible, you're not stepping into an open market. You're stepping into a stampede of people doing the identical thing with the identical tools, producing the identical recycled book. And it's worth understanding why the output is so generic, because it's not an accident, it's how the tool works. The AI doesn't know your reader and it doesn't know you. It's trained on everything that already exists, so when you ask it for a book on a topic, it hands you back the statistical middle of everything that's ever been written about that topic. By design, it gives you the most average possible version because average is literally what it's built to produce. Then 1,000 other people ask it the same question and publish their own slightly rewarded version of the same average thing. And now the niche is full of near identical books. And those books feel like they are written by nobody because in a way they were. That flood is coming, it's already starting, you can see it if you look. And here's the part that should bother you if you're one of the people excited about this opportunity, because the way most of them are about to use it, they're not going to rise above that noise, they're going to become it. They'll publish their generic book into a pile of 10,000 other generic books and then wonder why nothing sold. So if the easy path is a trap, the obvious worry becomes the competition standing in your way. And that's the next thing I want to take apart, because the fear most beginners have right here is pointing at completely the wrong trait. The biggest fear I hear from people starting out is always some version of the same thing. They look at the top of a niche, they see books with 2,000 reviews, 3,000 reviews, and they think there's no way in, the spots are taken, those books are untouchable. And I want to challenge that directly because it sounds logical and it's mostly wrong. A pile of reviews only protects a book that's still actually good. Reviews are social proof. They tell a buyer that other people came before them and trusted this thing, and that's worth something, but they don't make the book itself any better, and they definitely don't keep it current as the years go by. So go and actually do this. Go look at the books sitting at the top of a lot of niches right now. A surprising number of them are old. The cover looks dated, the colors and the fonts give away that it was made years ago, the title is generic in the way titles used to be, the inside hasn't been updated since it went up, and the whole thing quite feels like it belongs to a different era of Amazon. It's not sitting up there because it's the best possible answer to the buyer's problem today. It's sitting up there on momentum, or reviews it earned back when it had less competition, coasting on a head start that has nothing to do with how good it is right now. Now think carefully about how people actually buy on Amazon, because this is where it gets interesting for you. A buyer types in what they want and they get a page full of results, little thumbnails in a grid, and they scan that page with their eyes fast, about a second per book if that. In the first second, they are not reading the review count, they're not reading the description, they're reacting to the cover, purely to how it looks and whether it feels like the right, current, trustworthy answer to what they just searched. So when your modern, clean, genuinely relevant cover is sitting on that page right next to a tired one from years ago, you win that glance, even if the old book has 10 times your reviews, because the buyer's eye stops on yours first, and the review count never even gets a chance to matter. They click yours before they ever see the other book's numbers. And then it gets better, because the moment your superior book starts getting those clicks and starts selling, it starts earning its own reviews naturally from real readers who actually liked it. Give it a bit of time and now you got both things at once, the modern quality and the social proof stacked together. And at that point you are the one sitting in the protected spot, and you're the one the next person coming along is going to feel intimidated by. So that fear of competing against books with thousands of reviews, when you really look at it, is just a fear of competing on quality. And competing on quality is the single game a thoughtful beginner can actually win in this market right now. Which brings me to the real question underneath all of this. Because if quality is the whole game, then whatever it is that actually makes a book higher quality is the thing that matters most. And that's the part almost nobody in this space is talking about, honestly. I want to be really clear about what I actually think about AI, because I'm not anti-AI at all. I use it, it's a genuinely powerful tool, and pretending otherwise would be silly. The issue was never the tool, the issue is what people are using it to do. When you ask AI to write you a book about a topic, what comes back is competent and empty. It's grammatically fine, it's organized, it reads smoothly, and it's completely generic, because the model is giving you the blended average of everything that's already been written on that subject. There's nothing in it that couldn't have come from anybody. No specific point of view, no real story, no lived detail, no moment where a real person who actually solved this problem leans in and says, here's the thing nobody tells you about this. And that missing layer, that's not a small cosmetic thing, that's the whole difference between a book somebody buys and forgets in a week and a book somebody finishes and then tells their friend they have to read. Here's what I mean concretely. Let's say you're writing a book to help people with something you've personally lived through. Doesn't matter what it is, something you genuinely struggle with and eventually figured out the hard way. The AI can give you the standard structure, the common advice, the stuff that's sitting on the first page of any search result, the things everyone already half knows. What it cannot give you is the mistake you made that nobody warned you about and that cost you 6 months. It can give you the specific moment something finally clicked for you after a year of confusion. It can give you the particular way you explain the idea now, the one that makes somebody go, oh, that's the first time anyone's ever made that make sense to me. None of that is in the training data because it never happened to the training data. It only happened to you. And that's the exact thing a reader feels on the page, the sense that a real human who's actually been where they are is talking to them. And it's the thing they remember and the reason they recommend it. So the most valuable thing in this entire business isn't the information anymore, because the information is everywhere and AI just made it completely free. Anyone can get the facts now in 10 seconds. The valuable thing, the thing with actual scarcity to it, is your experience, your stories, your way of seeing the problem, your judgment about what actually matters and what's just noise people repeat. That's the part that can be generated, can be copied, and can be flooded because there is exactly one of you and there always will be. Everybody now has access to the same average knowledge. The playing field got completely level on that front. So the only thing left that separates a book that wins from a book that drones is how much of a real, specific human got poured into it. And once you really get that, the question stops being how do I make a book faster and turns into something completely different. How do I build something only I could have made? And answering that changes the entire way you work. The mistake baked into the whole speed pitch is the idea that the goal is to finish a book in a day. I throw that goal out completely. Trying to make a book in a day is how you guarantee it's the same shallow thing everyone else is making, because the only way to go that fast is to let the AI do all of it and add nothing of your own. Use AI for what it's genuinely good at, which is the heavy lifting that doesn't carry your fingerprint anyway. Let it help you structure your thinking, organize your chapters into an order that flows, get you past the blank page on a morning where you're stuck, smooth out the purely mechanical parts, catch the places where you repeated yourself. All of that stuff used to eat days and sometimes cost real money, and now it doesn't, and that generally is a gift, so take it without guilt. The mistake isn't using AI, the mistake is stopping there and publishing what it gave you. Because once the skeleton exists, that's not the finish line, that's where the actual work begins, and that's the part the lazy crowd skips entirely. That's where you go back in and add the things only you have. Your examples, the real ones from your own life and the people you've actually helped. The story of how you learned this and what it cost you. The specific mistakes you watched other people make over and over. The way you'd explain the hard part to a friend sitting across the table from you who's frustrated and about to give up. The detail you only know because you actually did the thing instead of reading about it. You go through that competent empty draft and you make it specific, you make it yours, you make it something a real person clearly wrote, and that process is the whole game. And here's why that work is worth it, because it compounds in your favor in a way the fast approach never can. Every single hour you put into the part only you can make is an hour your competition isn't willing to spend, because they're busy racing to the next quick generic title. Remember why this whole window exists in the first place. The barrier dropped, and the moment it dropped, the crowd sprinted toward the easiest possible version of using it. So the harder path, the one where you actually slow down and think and pour yourself in, that path is wide open precisely because almost nobody wants to walk it. Everyone's stampeding toward generic. The lane towards something genuinely good has never been emptier, and that's the lane with all the money in it. This is also exactly why I'm not interested in the strategy of publishing 20 theme books spread across 10 different niches and praying a couple of them work. I think that's the old volume game wearing a new AI costume, and it leads to the same place, a pile of forgettable products competing with a million other forgettable products. One book that genuinely solves a real problem for a real person built with your actual experience living inside it will outperform a whole stack of hollow ones, and it will keep on selling quietly for years after the generic pile has been buried under the next generic pile that shows up the next month. You're not trying to plant as many flags as you can and spread yourself thin across all of them. You're trying to build one thing good enough that it holds its ground, earns its own reviews, climbs on its own merit, and becomes the book people in that niche actually point each other to. Depth beats volume here. and it's not even a close contest. But building something that good is generally only half the job, because a superior book that nobody ever lays eyes on still makes you exactly nothing, and how you get it in front of people is the part where almost everyone falls apart. You can build the best book in the niche and it can still sit there selling nothing, because a great product that nobody discovers isn't a business, it's a hobby. So how you promote it matters just as much as how you build it. And this is where I want to spend the last few minutes, because the promotion side is where I spent the last 3 years of my life. There are really a few different ways you can go about getting eyes on your book, and they're not equal. The first is Amazon ads, where you pay to put your listing in front of people who are already searching on Amazon. Ads have their place. I want to be fair about that. Once a book is already proven and already converting, ads can pour fuel on something that's working. But for most people starting out, running ads on a brand new book is one of the fastest ways to lose money, because you're paying to send traffic to something you haven't proven anyone wants yet, and the costs add up quietly while you tell yourself it will turn around. The second way is to just lean on Amazon's own search and hope the algorithm decides to show your book to people. That's slow, it's mostly out of your hands, and it leaves you completely dependent on a platform you don't own and can't control, where one change to how they rank things can wipe out your visibility overnight. And then there's the third way, the one I've built my entire business on, which is creating content on social media that pulls people from outside Amazon and sends them straight to your book. That third one is the one I believe in, and I've believed in it for 3 years now, because I've watched it work the entire time with my own books. When you make content, short videos, posts, the kind of thing people actually stop and watch while they're scrolling, you're reaching readers who were never going to stumble onto you through an Amazon search in a million years. They weren't looking for you. You showed up in their feed, you said something that mattered to them, and now they're walking into your listing as a genuinely interested human being instead of a cold paid click that costs you money whether they buy or not. And there are a few reasons this beats everything else for someone starting out. It costs you nothing but your time and your effort. It builds you an actual audience that belongs to you, that you can reach again and again for every book you ever publish. And it compounds, because a piece of content you make today keeps bringing people in for weeks and months after you posted it, completely unlike an ad that stops that the second you stop paying for it. In a moment where the market is about to draw in generic books that nobody is promoting properly, being the person who actually knows how to drive real attention to a genuinely good book is an absolutely enormous advantage, maybe the biggest one available right now. If getting that part right is what you want, learning how to actually bring readers to your books through content, that is exactly what I teach inside my course, Content Marketing for Self-Publishers. It's everything I worked out over 3 years about using organic content to pull readers to your books without ever spending a cent on ads. The entire approach, laid out the way I actually do it myself every day. If you've already got a book worth reading, or you're about to go build one the right way, that course is how you make sure the right people actually find it instead of it sitting invisible. I'll leave it linked for you down below if you want it. So here's where this all lands. The window is real. The barrier really did come down and the buyers really are there. But this opportunity doesn't belong to whoever moves fastest. It belongs to whoever builds something better and actually knows how to get it seen. And that person can absolutely be you, because the crowd is busy racing toward generic and leaving the good lane wide open. Build the thing only you could make, then learn to put it in front of the right people, and you're not competing with the flood at all. You're sitting above it. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. It genuinely means a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.